Hi everyone, Bagel Fishing here, going over the 5 best baits for springtime bass fishing. And so the first bait that I always go to in my arsenal is a good shad imitation. So this is a topwater shad, hollow body shad made by Live Target that catches a lot of fish. And in the springtime, shad spawns, so bass love to feed on shad. And this is a great shad imitation that catches many bass for me. Whether it's smallmouth, largemouth, it's a really numbers killer. Maybe not the biggest bass, but definitely lots and lots of bass. And a second bait that I go to is a good jig. Now this is an orange and brown jig. I don't know who it's made by, but it's an 1/8 ounce and it catches tons of fish. It's really versatile. And what I like to use as a trailer is a 3-inch pink and white worm made by Bass Pro. So I like to rig it in a very serpentine manner. Bass love to feed on snakes, and so it kind of looks like a snake coiling onto the hook. And it's really attractive to a bass. And I don't know, it catches a ton of bass. And I got this lure, this pink lure from Bass Pro, so I know it's made for bass, made for bass fishing. And I can tell you, it works. It's a killer for bass. You get a good shot of that? It's a really great lure. Okay. And my third lure I like to use is a good salmon egg. Bass love to feed on pink fluorescent eggs. These imitate the eggs of largemouth bass, of other fish in fresh water, and this makes it really good to catch bass. And I love to rig this on a good salmon egg hook. So this is a weighted hook, and this is how I usually just rig it. It catches a ton of fish, and I think I've caught the most largemouth bass and smallmouth bass on a lure like this. My fourth lure for springtime bass fishing is a good spoon. It's a very compact spoon, and it has gold and pink flash. It has a great attraction to largemouth bass. And I think this is maybe a size 12 hook. And what I like to pair with this are things that are kind of bland and kind of dull in color to really attract the largemouth bass. So what I like to use is a good craw trailer. So I hook this like this, and it gives really great action to the craw. It's so super lifelike when I drag it in the water. It looks like a craw, and they'll hook right onto it. And I love targeting smallmouth bass with this. This is absolutely killer and will catch me tons and tons of fish in the springtime, especially when I'm not catching anything. I just pull this out. And my last bait that I like to use is a super finesse tactic. When they aren't eating something like this craw over here, for comparison's sake, I like to use a 1/100th ounce jig head. And I pair that with a nice clear, soft plastic. And this catches tons of fish, nematodes, crustaceans, goldfish, any sort of pixie aquatic life, and I won't be skunked for that day. And not to mention the small fry of largemouth bass. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.